We are live. Hello. How are y'all doing? Right? It is Friday. I'm putting on my intelligent glasses today for the show. It is Friday. We are alive. We had to kill anyone in our personal lives. We're doing good. I think collectively we're all doing pretty okay. So thank you for joining me. And I do want to offer a little apology. It's been super, super hard for me to be back on schedule with a weekly commitment for a little bit, mostly because I've been exhausted and recovering from life. And, we've entered this unique season of America where we're in transition mode. We have fall here and blah. And it's the last, 4 months of a year that we're all learning how to navigate and consider a good year or a weird year or a whack year or a different weird year. Who knows? So I'm going to be going back to a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday schedule very soon. But your girl was in the hospital a couple weeks ago for over a week, and I had to take care of some health stuff. I'm okay, or I will be okay. So if you're going to be like, oh, this is inconsistent, it's not like what I thought it was going to be, you're a jerk. Because today we have an amazing show talking about being a Black founder, where the money at, covering capitalism. Is Black capitalism working? And what are we going to do? Because right now we're getting hit the hardest in this gap, and it sucks. So if you want to tell a friend to tune in, if they are a founder in training or want to be a business founder and want to figure out where the money at and how to pitch and where VCs are, you should definitely get on board with this. Howard Hughes. That is a hotel line. Harold Hughes from Bandwagon will be joining us. And so get ready for that. So yeah, tell more people, join, and we'll get to that. Moments of gratitude. I don't know why y'all want to go inside and eat food so bad. Outdoors, I was rocking with you. But outdoors, I was like, hey, I want to be outdoors. I want to do this, That looks great. I'll do that outdoors with you. But indoor dining? No, we're not. I don't want to do it. So I'm not compelled really to buy a damn thing right now, which is really, really interesting. I'm trying to reuse stuff that I already have. But I will tell you the thing that's breaking my heart a little bit that I did not know was going to come. So now I'm actually going to contradict what I just said about not wanting to buy a damn thing, because y'all, Century 21 is going to go away. What is we going to do? Do you Century 21? Do you understand? When the Pier 1 said they were going bankrupt, I was like, okay, who cares? When Barney said they were going bankrupt, I was like, all right, well, hey, y'all expensive. But Century 21 this is legendary. This is so sad. This is what do you know how many fights I've seen over purses, or how I went there last minute in a pinch to get something, and now you're telling me that and also today's 9/11, to the spirits and the bodies that are no longer physically here with us. May you rest well, because that is still a day that's marked in history, especially when it comes to how it just changed everything. But like, this is like, I only went downtown to that area for Century 21. And my favorite Century 21 is on 66th Street. So I got to go there today because now you're telling me that is closing. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I caught a lot of heat, right? This is important. This is us. So I'm heartbroken about that. I'm not gonna lie. I did not know that. Like, I didn't think like this thing we're in was real until I saw Century 21 was closing. That for me was where I was like, oh my God. Oh, we're in some shit. We're in so much trouble. But we'll get past that. News you need to know. Yes, we covered that. I want to put you all on to this brand new ad featuring Joe Biden. Joe Biden is trying to do a little something. I want to really, really take you to that. Like, I watched the ad and I was like, oh, like he letting you know that issues is happening. Like it's a very compelling ad. So I just want you to watch it. I am not saying anything except watch this ad. Okay. I'm also saying vote this MFer out of office. So you know who's in office. He needs to go. Let's keep it going.
This is our chance to put the darkness of the...
Now, I want you to understand. I want to make sure you have your full experience. I want to make sure you have all of it. I want to make sure you can hear. I want to make sure you got it because this is compelling. Let's go.
Past 4 years behind us to end the anger, the insults, division, violence, and start fresh in America. We can stop focusing on our president who thinks it's all about him and start focusing on what's best for us. We need to get control of the virus. Donald Trump failed. Joe Biden will get it done. We need to help working families. Joe Biden's plan rewards work and makes the wealthy and corporations pay their fair share. We need to take the next step in healthcare. Joe Biden will lower premiums and reduce drug costs while still protecting those with pre-existing conditions. We need to take on climate change and protect Social Security and Medicare. We've had 4 years of a president who brings out the worst in America. It's like time we had a president who brought out the best. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
So, your boy Joe, he's trying. He's trying to kind of say a little something. So I was very, very I don't want to say pleased, but I was like, okay, let's see if that ad does anything. And then we also have Team LeBron. The Lakers are winning. I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm from Detroit. It's the fact that I even said the Lakers out of my mouth is kind of like a diss to my city. But I'm a LeBron fan. So right now they're 3-1. Hopefully they wrap this bad boy up. And then I can hopefully outside watch a game with the public covered in a mask and a hazmat suit. That would be the preferred item. But let's also talk about this. So I don't know if anyone here is still watching the NFL. But they got booed. The Kansas City Chiefs game, which was an opener, as they were doing a linking of hands for a moment of unity. You got to be like the most saltiest, crotchety, angrily, disappointingly, just all around trash human being to boo when people are just trying to lock hands. What's wrong with this? What, is the racism that racist? What? Like it's literally NFL fans said, "Get these Black lives out of here." But I'm gonna let you watch this, and then I mean, it's really disappointing. These MFers are booing. They're booing.
Thank you.
Who boos a moment of like holding hand? Like that's so like weird, and I don't get it. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. That just it's like, why would you boo people trying to like I honestly feel bad. I feel bad for players. Like me, I would have got off that link and went back to the locker room, packed up my stuff, and been like, y'all can keep this little racist ass league. I would have been out, but I know that's not what you're supposed to do, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, like that's rude. That's rude. It's super rude. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why you would boo that. But, you know, I am also from Michigan. I'm from the Midwest. I understand that that's what people do. You know, and one of the big things that I've always tried to talk about is that while we're living in this space of America, there's still a big chance that, you know, most of the country doesn't want to see unity at all. So if you're wondering why we're not unified, I'm telling you right now why we're not. Also, before my guest comes on, I do want to give honor and respect to a Black-owned brand. This is Aroma, started by Chef Layton. It's pretty awesome. And this is my shirt that I asked for months. Friends in High Places. It's so cool. I feel so cool. I can only wear it indoors because I'm not supposed to wear black. But this comes with a whole set of seasonings. You have CBD infused seasonings. You have kosher salt infused seasonings. I'm just going to do like the YouTube hands. You see how I'm doing the YouTube hands? There's olive oil that's CBD infused, made by a Black man from Brooklyn. So you can go check out Aroma. It's spelled like aroma. If you don't know how to spell aroma, I don't know what to do. If you don't know how to spell aroma, this show, you need to go to another TV show. But this is really, really fire. I can't wait to get to using this. Again, in case you need to see it, Aroma. It is on IG. And our guest just jumped in. He did not know that this was video. I should have told him it was audio and then have him join and then have all his eye crust be on. Oh, but now he doing the Black man brush, y'all. I'm gonna show you what he's doing. Yeah, I'm gonna put him on blast. He's really like he's doing a he's really like he is legitimately doing the Black man prep, which is the little net that y'all be using to do the brushing and the brush up. I'm gonna add him in right now. Hello.
Good morning.
Wow, you look so slender.
Thank you. I've been focusing on health this year. So 2020 has been about, making sure I'm getting these LBs down.
These LBs?
These pounds down.
No, I know you were like, for a minute, I didn't know if you were getting paid by Fight Camp because you promoted them so much.
I'm trying.
I was like, are you an influencer or what are you doing?
I have become a little mini influencer where people are like sending me like products and it's like, cool, like, can I send you this? Like, yeah, of course. Of course you can. Of course you can.
Because like you're putting together like full solid sentences about it. And I'm like, is he trying to get some money? I'm not mad at you trying to get some money, but you know.
I'm using those clickable and searchable words. I'm doing all of that. Put me on. If you're a brand and watching, I am a canvas to explore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. Everyone, this is Harold Hughes. He is obviously Black. He's also from the South.
Yep.
Which is, you know, its own unique experience. He went to a school that I don't care about, Clemson.
We out here.
I know. He's also the founder of Bandwagon, which is now it went from B to C to B to B.
Yep.
Right. Service. So if you can just kind of like break down, give us the 30-second pitch of what Bandwagon is, and we'll get right into the conversation. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, as a first-generation American growing up in the United States, we really didn't have some of the same finances some of my peers did, but I knew sports allowed us to get connected and live events. And so I loved creating great experiences for sports fans. And so we started Bandwagon as a ticketing company, but then we pivoted after realizing the low margins, the challenges with capital, and now we are a B2B data company that focuses on the identity of who's actually in the venue. And you think about that from a public safety standpoint, you think about that from optimization of sponsorship dollars, as well as the ability to engage those fans directly with marketing and the right product and service blend. So we help, sports teams, live event festivals, and virtual really connect with their audience in a better way. So super excited to be here this morning. This is the earliest meeting I have done in quarantine. I want you to know that.
Thank you. I'll make sure I get you some influencers.
I got my products that I had to use to have my face looking my good and my hair done with my YouTube hands. So yeah, I'm good.
With the change of, first of all, what's an event in 2020, right? Yeah. So with everything becoming virtual, what does that mean for your business now?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things we had to really take a step back. It was a really rocky moment. In March, we had already signed the soccer league, the USL Soccer League, and then we were talking with five NBA teams on letters of intent. And
wow.
So then 2 days later, it was like, hey, we're going to put all that on hold. So what an event was for us at that time, we're like, okay, well, we need to find a way to go to smaller events, sub 1,000, sub 500. Like you look on your Instagram, people are out, people are places. So they may not be in these massive venues. So we needed to really think about like, what is an event these days? Is it a private reading at a bookstore? Is it a virtual engagement where a band is having, a virtual or digital tour? And so that's what we're trying to figure out what an event actually is, and taking a step back and saying, it doesn't matter if it's in person or online. What you need to know is that who these people are, what they care about, and what they're interested in, so you can find better ways to make those experiences to get them to come back again and again. So it's been good for us. We were able to pass our 2019 revenue in the middle of the summer. So yeah, thank you. So we think we've been able to manage it, but I've got a dope team that's really smart and really flexible. So we've been able to pull it off.
So you haven't had to make an OnlyFans page?
Not yet. No feet pics just yet, but I'm staying open-minded.
I'm just saying, I mean, that's another way of generating revenue.
Listen, can I say this real quick though? So I angel invest and we talk about deals and stuff together. I got an OnlyFans killer deck someone sent me. So I'll hit you that offline. But someone,
I want to see that.
Someone hit me with
I'm trying to figure out, can I do an OnlyFans, but like only with like not showing my body, but like showing like, I don't know, fingernail. I don't know. I got to figure it out. Apparently
people are out here.
Yes. We, a big part of this conversation, the genesis of this conversation, y'all, is based off the fact that, I don't know if anybody is in Clubhouse. I can't invite you. I invited one more person yesterday. I'm stacked right now, but Clubhouse is a app that came out during COVID. And it's a place where a lot of people in different spaces that are either leaders or founders or startupians are gathering to talk about different conversations. Harold literally jumped me in when I got into this room, but Harold led a conversation in a chat room that he created that's full of people of note within the founder space that are Black. And we were talking about Black capitalism and can it save Black people, right? Like, how do you recog that system into something that's usable for Black and brown communities. I have my own thoughts that I did my best to share in a group setting of people that I mostly did not know. Harold knows how I really think, so I'm sure he was cracking up as people were like saying things, and I would be, I'm sure he saw me being like, definitely like smoking some weed to get through what I was hearing. But I want to really understand, like, let's talk about the state of Black founders right now. We have Black Lives Mattering again, like it matters every summer for the past, like, God knows when. We have companies that said they're going to pledge money to support Black founders. They haven't, let's be honest. So what is the state? Right, that's facts. So what is the state of being a Black founder right now, and what does that mean?
Well, we also have the Black squares too, so don't forget Instagram with the Black.
Yeah, Black squares, right?
So yeah, I mean, you know, I had someone ask me, and they said like, how is life different for you as a Black founder in Austin, Texas? And that's where I'm at. It hasn't changed. Like there's nothing new here. I got into, I wouldn't even call it an argument or a debate, but I went on LinkedIn, and there was a venture fund here in Austin that says, you know, we acknowledge that the system and the deck has been stacked unfairly or incorrectly, whatever. So we're committing to taking at least 10% of our meetings from underrepresented groups, including Black founders, women, LGBTQ founders. And I'm just like, women are a majority of the country. Like, this is, how are you going to commit to 10% of your meetings going to such a massive population? And so I think that this whole idea around like, okay, well, you know, what does this world look like now for Black founders, and what in light of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and all that, you know, goes on that we endure, I haven't seen much change. And I think that that's part of why we can't allow these things to rock and change our focus. We need to still continue running the businesses that we run. We need to run our processes, whether we're fundraising or building customer pipelines. We can't wait for these types of events, because I think what we found is that the corporate folks and the folks who are saying and making these commitments are pretty fickle. And it's really hard to hold their feet to the fire beyond the really fancy, you know, press announcements, and then being able to, you know, succinctly track the dollars afterwards.
Do you find that in most cases, we just are now living in a phase where people are aware that Black people are unhappy, and that we know that the system isn't working, and it just is what it is? Because from what I'm gathering in all these different conversations, I don't see anybody really willing to call people in and be like, this needs to change.
Right. Yeah. And I think that that's part of the challenge, is that, you know, we've talked a little bit last night about, you know, is there an opportunity for trickle down economics in the Black community as a startup founder, right? And so you and I, Black founders, we do nonprofit, we do the whole thing. So it's like, okay, you've got folks who are traditionally white males running the venture capital space. And they're like, well, we need to give more money to Black funders, you know, fund managers. So then those folks will give more money to Black founders, and then Black founders will hire more Black people. And then now we've, you know, affected their unemployment rate, changed the gender and wealth gap. I mean, I don't really know how we expect to be sold this, but, you know, it is what it is, as the poets would say.
Like, I think that the idea of trickle down economics doesn't work.
No.
So I would love for you to define what that is in this space, so that people understand why it doesn't work, right? And also, if you, my audience, are not aware of what trickle down economics means, let's figure it out. Let's chat it out. But it is a thing. But in this space, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's not realistic.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that a little bit on the space. So if you think about this from a concept of pattern matching and that phrase. So anyone who's familiar with startups may know that phrase, but I want to say that either Peter Thiel coined it, talking about Zuck, but however it plays out, it's this idea that you are making your decisions based on a pattern in your head that you're saying, well, this person was able to overcome this or take us to this great return. We need to find more people like that, right? And so traditionally, when you think about venture capital, they're trying to pattern match today for the Mark Zuckerberg type, or the Stanford dropout or the Harvard dropout, and all these different things. And no matter how you slice what we all consider the pattern match that Silicon Valley looks for, it typically doesn't include women. It typically doesn't include Black people or people of color. It typically doesn't include non-gender binary people, the LGBTQ community. And so the opportunities there is like, well, you're leaving out a bunch of people. And so the trickle down economics idea is those folks with the cash saying, we've recognized that we have a blind spot. What we should do is give Black fund managers, let's hire a couple of them, let's give them some money and let them make the investment decisions. And then what will happen is they will give money to people who look like them, which is really weird because it's almost like they're explicitly saying the reason that we've been giving money to people is because they look like us, right? Whatever. And then at that point is that those Black fund managers would then pick the most exceptional of Black founders that didn't go to Stanford, that don't have all these other credentials, which it kind of ends up getting the capital too, if we're being honest. And then you go to the next step is that, okay, well then as a Black CEO like myself, I'm going to be able to hire Black talent, which is very difficult, I will say, as a completely separate aside.
Okay, so wait, no. Talk to me about hiring Black talent. This is something that I'm trying to figure out within the cannabis space, because we want to create like pathways to jobs, pathways to like ownership if need be, and pathways to just being able to like transition into cannabis. Because to be honest with you, I didn't know that I would be in a stabilized market during COVID. Everybody else,
an essential business.
It's an essential business, right? So let's talk about that. And then I also want to try to jump into Treasure's point, which is Black capitalism ever going to impact the hood? Do our business impact the Black people in various social economic positions, or are we just building businesses around corporate patterns and structure, which is something that I definitely was trying to dive into yesterday. But go into the Black talent hiring.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that we think about from a hiring standpoint, at least, is that as a startup, early stage, and I say that as a founder that's raised just over $2 million, we've got a 5-person team. And so being able to like pay market or even competitive salaries is tough, right? And so some of your compensation ends up being equity. And so if you are, an incredible Black engineer or business salesperson or marketing person, if I offer you $75,000 and 1% of my company, and Google offers you $150,000 in cash in whatever their stock option program is, that's really, really hard to compete with. And so by design, we've got the best and brightest of us still being plucked by these, capitalistic companies that are farther along. And so you are competing with that. And so me being a Black founder, though it's helped us definitely get the folks who are in as applicants, it has been one of those things where we've seen, like, I can tell you, we have made offer letters to people and they're like, yep, I've got to look at this one or that one. And so that's the tough piece, is that, I don't judge them. I want them to go get what they're worth. And so it's just one of those things where if you look at a Black founders team and it's like, well, your team doesn't look much different than any other person's team. It's like, it's not for a lack of trying. It's just understanding that everyone in the ecosystem has to do what's in their best own interest. And so even though you may offer every Black applicant you can, that talented, incredible Black, creative is going to take what's the best option for them. And in some cases, it's going to be at the Googles or the Facebooks or the wherever. And so that's where I think that the trickle down aspect of it is like incredibly tough to try and piece together in such a casual nature.
Is there just more in terms of talking about, is Black capitalism even helping the hood?
So my brother was talking about that a little bit, and I think Walt kind of shared that. Dr. Walter Lee, he's an associate professor at Virginia Tech, and then my brother does some nonprofit stuff focused on financial literacy. And I think the conversation, and Mary, I think you jumped up at one point on this, is like we were having two different conversations. One group was talking about generational wealth, and the other was talking about the Black community. There will always be generational wealth in the Black community for the families that have the the wherewithal and the capital and all those different things. But when we're talking about the hood, the community, I mean, I was sending a message to one of the moderators last night. I was like, yeah, that's like my neighbor's house being on fire and me installing a hot tub. Like that's what generational wealth looks like relative to the Black community. And so I don't know how we fix that other than making sure that you are not necessarily saying, okay, I have to hire this many Black people, but being really, really aware of the service providers that you can get in your business. Like you're going to need marketers, you're going to need a cleaning company, you're going to need certain other small businesses, banks, and being able to support you. And what pieces of that can you pull back into the community? But I think this idea that it's like, well, if we give Black fund managers money and then they'll give Black founders money and then those folks will hire, but it's still leaving out a huge percent of the population that has nothing to do with venture capital. It has nothing to do with the everyday folks who are trying to make it to the end of the month. And so I think that that's really challenging.
I just think that the ideal of people that toss around names like Robert Smith over and over and over again as a bastion for Black capitalism working is kind of problematic. And I think that another thing that also concerns me is that capitalism, when you talk about it in general, has more than one form. Socialism has more than one form. But when we're talking about capitalism in this aspect, to be really honest with you, we are the cattle of capitalism. Like we capitalism is here because of us being used as objects and items
and products,
and products, right? So the existence of being melanated and being, I'll just say straight up, from the African continent is the fact that we were a product, we were a trade item, right? So whenever I hear someone say Black capitalism, I'm like, do you realize that you're like almost like doing like a weird cross up of what you were originated here for, to be to help build up, like it's something that I think everybody using the word capitalism and they're not understanding that they're actually defaming themselves as a part of the system, because we were made to build capital and equity for white bodies.
Right. And I think that the key to that really is understanding the people who talk about capitalism most in the Black community normally are people in the position to create jobs or have some type of a business or something like that. There are a lot of people who are affected by capitalism who don't actually call it capitalism. They just say, man, things are crazy, shit's going on. Like that's really just understanding the nuance of how this has moved into the language. And, one of the points we were saying last night, someone was saying like, well, it would be better if we looked at how we created like a Black Amazon, or if Amazon was run by a Black person instead of like Jeff Bezos. And so it was just like, well, that doesn't change the problematic nature of what's happening at Amazon. Like, and so Walt says as a moderator, so well, we would still be upset that the employees are dealing with those conditions even if the person was Black. And it's like, well, they're not exploiting labor, they're providing opportunities for all these people. And that's when I said, like, Jeff Bezos doesn't believe he's exploiting labor. And if he does, he doesn't say it, right?
Right. And Amazon literally wants to redo manufacturing to where there's no human touch whatsoever.
Yes.
So when people say, let's create a Black Amazon, I'm like, oh, so you want to get rid of the manufacturing industry for human beings to actually have jobs? That doesn't make any sense. So that's why I'm kind of concerned, because as we ascend and try to like climb up in our own way, without realizing that, like, if we just climb up, we could be Robert Smith, but like, what does that really do if we like aren't able to even like connect the branches and like think about infusing into our communities? As a Black founder, like, what battle do you fight? Do you fight the battle of like, I got to get mine and make sure I'm good because I got kids and mouths to feed, and I got a wife and or a husband or a partner, like all that? Or is there a way to do that and still bring communities in so that they can understand like what right? Like the way that you've been able to ascertain $2 million, that's not an easy feat. And that's not even a lot of money for what everybody else is getting, which are white people, which it's like, oh, I made a bodega that like you can roll a cart with $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. Well, and so two things real quick there. So for me, I completely get like the conversation about being able to like, if we continue with manufacturing movements and innovation, we are going to lose jobs. But that is what happens. Like when you think about every type of innovation that went from, farmers to the horse and buggy and then moving on, like people end up being moved out of the place. So I completely get that. I don't know if there's a great solution to preserve those jobs. What I do think their opportunity is to find ways to skill those people into certain other jobs. I think community college and these trade programs should definitely be giving us some of these jobs that allow us to plug people in directly, and they should be free, in my opinion. But to that point about a Black founder and how we navigate it, I just make sure that I'm sharing as much as possible with other people about my story. This afternoon or later this morning, I'll be talking with students at Howard University, my wife's alma mater, to kind of tell them a little bit about this journey as a startup founder. And the challenge that I've often seen is like, it's not so doom and gloom. I get kind of tired of the whole, like, it's so hard to raise money for Black founders. It's like, okay, it is fine. Like, let's move on to the next point. And so I think that part of that is really focusing on how do we get these things accomplished. When I first got started, or looked at some of these people who were on TechCrunch and Fast Company and in the media, Black founders. I'm like, man, you look like me. You're doing great. I would love to learn from you. And at that point, I realized, like, man, these people are so few of them. They're getting inundated with requests. But B, a lot of them don't even have the ability to pass that playbook on because it was such an outlier of how their performance happened. And so for me, I try and focus on the transformative power of transparent storytelling. I want to be able to help create impact for the Black community and for folks who look like me based on me telling my story as clear and as transparent as a way so that you know about the ups and downs. And so when you see me celebrating with my team and my family, not only do you feel like, man, he really earned that because you remember that one year and you remember that one season, but also you feel like you want to cheer with me because you were part of that journey. And I think that that's pretty much one of the best things we can do aside from investing in each other. I'm excited to be an investor in different Black founders and people of color and women. I'm excited to mentor. I love to be able to go back and speak at these different universities. But I think we've got to be honest about telling the story that's not being printed in the media publications, because otherwise people will think you just, happen to punt $30 million without seeing all the grind you to put in to get there and the systemic issues you had to overcome to make it to that point.
I have a question for you, and then I know you have like a full day. And I'm glad that you're speaking. This is a really important question. So, what is we supposed to do? What is we gonna do?
So the short answer is do what you can where you are with what you have, right? And so I think that one of the things that gets kind of overplayed is like everyone should be a startup founder, like start a company, create an LLC, maybe create another LLC. Like,
now hold on, I don't want you to sound like LLC Twitter.
What I'm saying is that we need to acknowledge that we all have roles that we can play in this ecosystem.
Okay.
Everyone doesn't need to be a business owner, right? And so there's somebody who's listening to this on their way to the office today that makes $140,000 a year. And so to that person, we'd say like, hey, if you've got enough to put 10 grand into 10 startups, $1,000 each.
Okay.
Go look at how you can do a syndicate or backstage crowd or AngelList or Republic. Be an investor, because being someone's first yes is incredibly empowering, right? And so that's something where if you're high net worth, try and find ways to invest directly. If you make 70,000, you aren't necessarily in position to be investing money. Go think about all the things you buy on your weekly grocery list and say, yeah, I could buy this, but there are some comparable Black brands that I could buy once a month or every other to try them out so that I can impact their sales, and think through how you can impact that. If you are in the executive suite of these different companies, think about how you create opportunities for these Black companies, Black founder-led companies, to get pilots with your organizations and letters of intent. If you're in a position to hire and you're not necessarily executive, but you're a hiring manager, how do you create a more equitable hiring process where you're not just recruiting from Stanford or Berkeley, but you're going to the historically Black colleges and universities and some of these trade schools to be able to pick your talent? So everyone has value that they can pull and contribute to this ecosystem. But I think that we oftentimes get lost, and it gets exhausting, I think, is if you put all the pressures, like you got to go out and start a company. And then that company's got to employ this many people. And then you got to sell it. Like, whoa. a lot of us can do other things in this to kind of lift all of us together. So it's do what you can with what you have where you are. And those are some of the suggestions I have for making sure that we kind of continue to think about this as a community aspect. And don't leave the nonprofit side of it. It's out of it. You know, we try and make sure we support these different organizations so that they can continue to do the work that they're doing in the community. Because honestly, corporations aren't necessarily the best folks equipped to do that. So make your money, find partnering nonprofits to support the vision and mission you believe in, and give them the resources that they need to be able to serve the community that we all, you know, are a part of.
Thank you so much, Harold. I'm very proud of you. You are literally like, you know, you are the undercover thug of the.
Let's get it. Because people don't know, man. Like I was getting some DMs right now, and they were like, "Did you need to read him like that?" Because it sounded like, and I was like, "Look, man, don't let these words fool you. I will, you know, I think it's important to make sure we got to talk to people.
We really do, and I don't like talented thing. I don't like W.E.B. Du Bois. More and more, I see what Booker T. Washington was trying to get to.
Sure.
But like, you know, like just because you've made it doesn't mean that you start sounding like freaking Michael Steele. Like that's the thing that I get really, really concerned about when people make money. And I don't ever want to sound like that. So if you hear me out here talking about, well, why don't you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Please cuss me out.
Right. Yeah. The whole, you know, I found a way to make it is the most dangerous rhetoric in the world because you know what happens is the person on the other side, the game builder, like if this was whatever that the Hunger Games, the person who puts the match together, they're saying, oh really? Well, let's throw one of these in the middle here. Let's add another landmine over here because the success rate is getting up above 3%. We need to get this thing back down. So we cannot perpetuate this whole "if I made it, you can do it" thing. Too.
Yeah, and also let's scare some people. Stats: how many Black founders do you know that have raised over? And this is horrible. Over $10 million.
Oh, you said 10. I didn't know you were gonna go that high. Dang, Savitri's at 8. I mean, maybe somebody's got to be. I don't know. I mean, no, Clarence is like 8 or 9.
Clarence is at 8, I think.
Yep. And Jules sold. She got to exit Amazon. I'm trying at 10. Oh, right. Hair Academy, maybe. Maybe she just got a big bag a couple months ago. I want to say that put her in the 10s. Care Academy, Helen Adioson.
That's really wild that people are getting $30,000 or hundreds of thousands, $30 million or $100 million for a drop of blood in a fax machine.
Yes.
And
yes.
And we can't think of people that have received over $10 million in funding.
Right.
That makes my blood boil. But
one quick thing before I jet is you talked about equity, and this part is really important. Marcus Carey, brother who was on last night, had some different points.
And he followed me on LinkedIn and Twitter. He was like,
yeah, but he sold his company, Threat Care, sold it. Now he's got equity in a nice company. It's taken off. They just had a series like C or something D. But the thing he's thinking about, he's like, man, look, now that I've sold my company, I know how I would have played this game. I would have sold that company sooner for $10 million, and I would have had 70%. Then I'd start another company and sold that one for 10 or 15. And equity is really important there because if it takes just as much work to sell a company for 50 million as it does to sell for 10 million, but you own more, well, and the goal is to try and create wealth here. Like, what are we doing here? And so I think that you talked a little bit about it last night, is that the folks who are in position of power now with the capital are saying like, oh, you're the most exceptional Black founder in the space. I'm going to take 10% of your company. You have access to my network. And they're just playing the numbers game, and they're going to hit. And so when you get your, oh, well, I've got this much and they're that much, that's where we see the disconnect, where as we try and get our wealth increased, their wealth is continuing to grow in magnitude.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how we play that card aside from just being more.
The equity piece is so important. And I hate when people are like, you know, like, it's not what Beyonce's talking about with equity in a song. That's not what we're talking about here. But I do hope Brian's going to come on next week. Good. I'm going to have Catherine come on. I really would like to have like a real dynamic conversation about what is equity? Because I've been saying this like a broken record.
Sure.
While we've been fighting for inequality and against police brutality and social stratification,
Mm-hmm.
equity has not been a conversation we've been able to ascertain or be part of
Right.
since this has all been going on. So
Right.
thank you for your time. Thank you for waking up early. Your hair looks great.
Thank you, girl. I got these curls going. I got some investor meetings coming up. I'm getting my products. If y'all got some products, let me know. I need
You got an influencer right here. You can follow Harold at One Bandwagon Fan. He's usually online spreading Clemson propaganda and talking about fight camp and definitely sounding like a social media influencer.
Yes, exactly. I got to get these coins in. Get my game going.
I'm proud of you.
Man.
Send me that OnlyFans deck.
Yes. Oh, I need to send. I'm gonna send it to you. I want your feedback on it.
Cause I'm tempted, but not. I need like only glasses, only hands. Like
I'm sending it to you without contact. I'm not gonna even add my commentary. I'm gonna send you the deck, and then I want your commentary. I'll tell you why.
But I will put my ass out if I have to. I'm from Detroit. We're from a stripper city. So
listen, get it. I need to actually tune into P Valley. My brother's been trying to put me on. I still haven't seen it, so I need to watch it. All right, friend. I'll catch you later.
Bye. Be well. Thank you. All right, everybody. That is almost our show. Oh, one more fun thing to end on, just so you know that we laugh over here. Maury Povich. Now, I know you're like, Mary. When I was in the hospital, Maury Povich, watching these episodes gave me so much joy. I know that you're probably going to say, Mary, we're going backwards if you talk about Maury Povich. But guess what? We're going to talk about it because Maury is still out here giving us high quality content. And also, I want you to understand, look at this face. This is I'm a black man on Maury, and I don't know if either the kid is mine or if I've been cheated on or if I'm just mad face. Like, he's giving you like the full, like my clenched jaw. He's giving you all of the things that you would need to know. And yes, this is about a grandma or an 80-year-old sugar mama. It's free.
T filed for divorce. Not only does T believe DeMaris had an affair with a local Uber driver, she also believes that DeMaris has an 80-year-old sugar mama who lives in Florida.
All right. 80-year-old sugar mama who lives in Florida. I also love the reactions that you get on the Maury show. Like, this is a very typical, like you see me, I'm the sis with behind the guy with the hand like up under his nose. I'm him. I'm definitely him. I love this show so much.
So will DeMaris pass the polygraph test that he took last night? T is terrified to find out. You told my producers right now you hate your husband.
I do. And that's not how I felt about him in the beginning, Maury. I was obsessed and in love with my husband. Right now, I want him to go away from me.
And you went to the courthouse.
And we both filed for divorce.
So, of course, this clap, everybody's always approving of a dissolved marriage or an ending situation. You know, people are always excited about it. I really want to get to the part of the